All about finding the right balance of the shivs and the poison. All right. And you want to be able to you need to be able to build your block in a way that can scale. You don't just need a lot of block. You need a way to amp your block up. Maybe even maintain your block across turns. That's a good thing to do, those cards. Welcome back to EntertainGents. Connor, twice in 1 week. I'm going to start calling you my wife.
Let's not do that.
Come on.
No.
We recorded just 3 days ago. How can we possibly have enough content?
I don't got nothing to say.
All right.
I guess we'll wrap it up here. We'll see ya.
We recorded a couple days ago, but you watched the movie like every night. So that's dedication. That's determination.
I did watch a lot this week. Not really, but
yeah,
I watched some stuff.
We watched something last night.
We did watch something last night.
Something that I was...
It wasn't something that was real good.
Something that I was really eager to like. I wanted to like it. We watched Miami Vice, 2006, directed by Michael Mann.
Everything on paper seemed good about this flick.
Yes. Modern reinterpretation of Miami Vice with Sonny. And I forgot his name again. Is it Riggs? Or am I doing the Lethal Weapon thing?
You're being a little bit, you're on the wrong page. Okay? You're thinking Lethal Weapon.
Jamie Foxx and
Colin Farrell playing Crockett and Chubbs.
You're a good man, Vic. Connor, I don't know. I've heard the name Michael Mann. I guess I never really watched his movies or gone out of my way to learn about them. I didn't like how the movie was shot. I didn't like how the movie was color graded. I don't think it was part of it. They would be in the same location, and like the white balance and like the lighting was just completely changing from shot to shot sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know if Michael Mann at this point in what I have seen, if it's like he's made a lot of bangers in his career, or if it's just that he made Heat and Collateral and that's kind of what got him to where he's at. But I mean, obviously with Heat and Collateral, it's like they're not perfect movies by any means, but the action is so good. But
neither of them are shot like
yeah.
What about Miami Vice?
That I'm gonna get to that
this style. I
think with just the technology at the time, if we were watching that on standard definition, I think it maybe would have been a little crazier in the terms that like there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of like digital cam shots, which
yes,
I think just aged poorly for the time. I mean, I don't.
It was right. Sorry.
I think like those scenes and everything, like it having it stretched out on a bigger screen now, and having that same format, and having like these really shaky close up shots show so much more of the details. It's like these shot decisions end up being now way worse from the time now having this advanced technology where everything looks better on paper, but being shot in a digital format, it's stuck in that. Yeah. Like they're not going to bump it up ever. They're not going to be able to get it to look like, you know, we mentioned like stuff like Blade Runner being from like the 80s, yet it being shot on film, allowing it to really be like this modern look today with the technology we have.
Yeah.
It shows like just the art form and how it should be, kind of like with a lot of these movies. And I think with something like that, it just sucks that on paper that movie should have been really cool. It could have been shot really good. It seemed like it had the budget. It just seemed like it was used poorly.
Yeah. Funny enough, I feel like maybe the way it was shot helps cover up or even just better contextualize how it kind of also looks shitty.
Yeah.
Like it makes it look like it's being shot on like a body cam or like a handheld cam that someone that was actually there. Like it feels like a POV shot a lot of the times.
I think too, the biggest sins in my mind, even outside of those, you know, these things we're talking about, like the digital cam shots, is the transitions from digital cam shots to then cinema camera shots or like whatever bigger camera they're using, because I know you know what I mean. Like where there's shots where it's
that
like
one
whoever's
shot looked
holding
good when they were going out to sea in the boat, and the sky was like so like pink,
Yeah.
and the water was such a deep blue. And that was that nicer camera that you're saying. It's like you could have just shot a regular movie.
Right.
Like this looks good. You could have made it look good, but you didn't.
I mean, that's a big no-no in like that type of, setting. Like a camera like that being used in a different shot's jarring. Like people might not know it right off the bat, but it's definitely, you can see it and know something's off. And then like another thing is just like the egregious shots where it's clearly daytime and they just have an ND filter on and they're like cranking it, because it's like the sky doesn't look red like that, at nighttime. It's not like a pinkish red. Like,
and it's the one time where it cut to him, like there was like red lightning behind him. Like, where? Like, did he go to hell? What is going on?
One thing you mentioned, which I think is really funny, is like 20 minutes into the movie, you're like, I don't think that these people are supposed to be like police officers, like partners, like they're tight,
speak to each other.
Yeah,
it was so
the
long
entire movie
until they share lines.
The entire movie, really, there's very little dialogue between the two of them, and like having just seen the original show, it's really kind of disappointing because like, the original show definitely has its corny moments and like scenes in it that are, we laughed at or thought were dumb. But like, I think the one thing that we were genuinely surprised about was for it being a show from the 80s, like how good it looked. It definitely seemed like it was a huge like movie like production for being a TV show.
The first like at least high profile attempt at a show trying to be more cinematic. Yeah, have a higher caliber of writing and direction than what we would normally see on TV at the time.
And it goes to show with like the acting. Like I think the two actors for the roles of Crockett and Chubbs are like really good in the original iterations. I think they have a good like dynamic that the 2000s one just kind of seems to like really get washed out with and not really like lean into. Like, you have this dynamic between the two of them kind of being different styles, with Crockett being a little bit older than Chubbs, being a detective already, and like
they're just, besides those characters like names, there's nothing borrowed. Like it didn't come through that he was originally like just a cop from New York and he was here under false pretenses. You don't hear about his motivation. Like
it doesn't even take place in the 80s or anything. It's like a modern day interpretation, and
then even when they do the In the Air Tonight, which we watched the director's cut, so it was moved to actually in the movie and not at the end, but it's still like the crappy like mid 2000s like
rock version,
epic version of it. It's like, this is not even a fraction of the original. I don't understand.
And what's funny is like, that's a modern take. That movie came out 20 years ago this year, and it feels way more dated than the original show. I mean, like,
it feels more dated than Heat. It came out like 12 years before this.
No, but I mean, to go back, like, for it to be this like new like 2000s, like the 2000s is our era. If it was done right, I think that could have been a movie that we felt very nostalgic for, or like fond towards. I was excited.
You know what it is? I think.
What is it?
What is it? The Miami Vice movie was not. There's nothing fun about it. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, it's too serious.
It's not even that it didn't try and crack jokes. Like it's not fun at all. There's nothing about it that I was like,
it feels too nice. Cut and dry. Like it felt like there was no one that was part of this movie felt like they were like there to have a good time, and like it was just felt like very corporate.
Felt like a sitcom daytime cop show that was stretched to 2 hours plus for the director's cut, by the way, which again, on me for picking the director's cut for us to watch. I thought it would be cool.
Pick a better movie next time. Yeah.
I presented actually 8 movies.
Pick a better movie next time.
You narrowed it down to 4, and then Dylan selected Miami Vice. He said, "Smile, don't care. 1 hour photo, don't care." That's what he said.
It pisses me off when he says stuff like that.
And then he was saying, What was he saying? He's like, I've just never been interested in it. Like, he was talking about Smile like there had been like 13 of them. Like, people had been like talking about like, have you ever heard anyone even talk about Smile?
Hey,
I'm not going to make him watch it because those movies are pretty like gross and disturbing. And he's probably just not into it, which is fine. But it felt kind of like a Milo Glover opinion.
You want to know what I think about that guy?
Nope.
He should go fuck himself.
Wow.
And I think honestly, I think his opinions don't matter. That's what I think. And I think if he has anything that he wants to say about that, he can come on this podcast and he can voice them. That's what I think. I'm done with his, berating. And
we're going to put him on a bar stool in between us.
He's going to come on this podcast and he's going to say what he really thinks. And that's what I say.
I feel like the way he goes on rants, it'd be really fitting to have him like to call him on the phone and just do like a speaker phone.
Yeah.
The quality of a phone call really amplifies the way that he rants, I think.
I think maybe next week we could get him on for a phone call.
We just dogged on Miami Vice harder than we've ever dogged on anything on this show so far. We could probably talk more and more about what we didn't like about Miami Vice.
There's a lot, but I don't know if there's really much more I can say that's going to be like entertaining and not just like nitpicking at this point. It's just not a good movie. I don't recommend it.
I would bet money this conversation was more entertaining than the movie was.
I think, yeah. And here's the thing.
I hope so. Sorry,
I think the new one that's about to come out has like infinite more potential than. It's just so angering after watching the first one and like watching the show, knowing what this setup is, knowing like it's kind of an interesting, cool idea, especially if you have like chemistry with the actors. That's the biggest thing. And like Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx just don't seem to, either of them, like they almost both strike me as people that can't share the screen with somebody.
Yeah.
And they don't have that dynamic. Like you need somebody with like a level of dynamic acting ability, like Leo and Brad Pitt and like Once Upon a Time. Like you need somebody that's like, hell yeah, that's the duo. Like those are the,
or, something Michael Mann did in Heat. He got together a duo in that too. Al Pacino, Gary Newman.
Gary Newman.
Gary Newman. That's right. Yeah, but it's weird. I feel like it would have been almost hard to find two actors that are as good of actors that we know they are and have them be this bland in the movie and in their interactions with each other. Very strange.
It really comes down to like, I mean, you keep saying like, how is it that even with as many similarities as there is, like, how could it be this bad? And I really think it's just the fact that, I mean, look at it on paper. It had been how many years since, Miami Vice had been in the mainstream or had a property. I don't imagine it made it past the 90s very far, if even at all.
I don't think.
But I imagine they were trying to look at how they could bring it back and how it could, bring back old fans of the series. And so they go, Michael Mann made this movie Heat. It's pretty close and similar to the vibe. I think he would make a good movie like this. And they offer him a huge check. He gets Jamie Foxx on board. He gets Colin Farrell on board, who were both hot at the time. Like, as far as
Colin Farrell on barrel.
On barrel.
Is that what you were going to say?
That's what I did say.
I like that, man. Yeah, Robert De Niro, not Gary Newman, Connor. So I just thought I would correct you on that.
I don't even know who Gary Newman is.
Skies of blue.
You mean Gary Oldman?
Connor, you solved a mystery this week. Do you know why? You solved a really, really old mystery. Because now I know who watches The Watchmen. And it was you. You watched The Watchmen.
I watched The Watchmen.
It wasn't your first time.
No, I watched The Watchmen with our Watchmen.
Who watches The Watchmen?
Who watches The Watchmen?
Connor.
D. Fish.
D. Fish watched it with you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, man, that movie was so good. 2 stars on Letterboxd.
That's what he says, and he keeps
And
denying.
then I
that
tried
he
to
thinks
rage
it's
with him,
bad.
and I was like, yeah, it's a pretty bad movie, right? He's like, no, man, it was good. What are you talking about?
2.5 though. He upped it to 2.5, but still.
That's from what you told me, it's because you guilted him. That's why he did the extra half star.
And
You guilted it out of him.
Watchmen's like a 3-star movie.
Yeah. I like when it's when they're boning and it's hallelujah and the ship goes.
He didn't like that. I think the sex.
He went,
scenes
oh,
is
come
what-
on, Jack.
The sex scenes are what lowered it. He said it was a freaky ad movie.
He said that before he saw Miami Vice. We didn't even touch on how bad those were in Miami Vice.
I don't want to talk.
You said that Michael Mann forgot we don't like these like 180 second just like thrusting scenes.
Well, yeah, you have to think like porn wasn't around then, so that's kind of just like where you got it. Is just,
That's
the movie.
I even hate the answer. It's like you get like a side boob, you get a side boob, and then you're like watching this black guy thrust for like a full 2 minutes. You're like, I was the Homelander. We were just watching Jimmy Fox's hips go on, man. Christ. All right, no more Miami Vice. I'm done with it. Watchmen.
Yeah, it's Watchmen holds up. Yeah. I mean, even like the CGI for Dr. Manhattan, I think actually stands out to me rewatching it this time. Like the movie looks pretty modern. I mean, it looks good.
I think
and
Zack
like,
Snyder's good at having an art style that holds up over time with his CGI too.
There's a lot in it that, I mean, look, it's not a perfect movie by any means, but like I think Watchmen stands out as its own flavor. And I think for how good the book is, I think this movie is, even with all the discourse about, you know, at the time of people being upset about how the ending is different than the comics and like just how the movie goes about it, I get it. I really don't at all feel fazed by that. I feel that I like the movie's interpretation of the story as much as I like the comics. And I think the movie does everything like style wise 1-to-1 with the comics so well, unlike anything that I've ever seen before. Like I almost think that could be talked about in like movie discussions, just how closely like the source material is referenced in like every single shot.
And we don't have any shortage of bad adaptations.
It genuinely feels like they took like it feels like how treatment would be done with a short film or a like fan film.
Yeah.
But it's like professional grade. You know what I mean?
It's like for how complex and dense the story is, like the fact that it's such a good adaptation, I think it's like really impressive, especially as a Halo fan. It's like you guys have got to stop complaining about a Watchmen movie.
It's proof,
it could be so much worse.
It's proof in the pudding that if you just follow the source material 1-to-1 and you just do it good.
Give me a scoop of that pudding. Sorry, Christ. Some Dementor just took me over to make me say that to you. Oh, there's some pudding slipping down my lips.
For as often as you reference Dementor, I don't think you know what it's from.
I know it's from Harry Potter, but The Office is, I think, what put it into my lexicon when Michael Scott's like, the Dementors. He's being prison Mike or whatever.
It is funny, though, if you knew in the context of Harry Potter, it is funny because it's like something they're kind of worried about at all times. It's like these little like goons that the main bad guy has. Like they're always worried, like the Dementors. I don't know. Harry Potter's gay,
but you think? I think you know exactly. Are they? Is Dobby a Dementor? I know what he looks like.
I don't know what Dobby is. I can't.
What do you
tell
mean? He's the little 7-inch rat with like the Yoda ears. Yeah. I've never seen the films.
I just know he gets stabbed.
Who gets stabbed?
Dobby gets murked.
Wait, he gets stabbed, dude. His body is so little. What does he like split in half when he gets stabbed?
It's like so extra. It's like either the last movie or the second to last movie, but the main bad guy just like kills him basically for no reason, just like is like a fuck you to the characters. And Harry Potter goes, Dobby!
Just chuck him at the wall. Dub. You watched Hokum this week? Hokum came to digital, and I said, Connor, Hokum came to the digital, and then you watched Hokum.
I did watch Hokum.
What'd you think of that thing? Full spoilers for Hokum.
Yeah, we're gonna spoil it.
How much of the movie was real, and how much of the movie was a mushroom trip? Let's slow down. What'd you think of the movie? Adam Scott playing Thunder Cunt.
Thunder Cunt. That would be his theme song.
He was so mean. He was just walking around looking for people to like bitch at. Like he was walking in, he saw the one worker. He's like, why are you doing what you're doing? It's like, shut up, dude.
I feel like it had to be a very fun character to play, though. Like to some degree, playing an asshole, I feel like would be fun.
Right, being told to be a complete asshole, and there's like guaranteed no social repercussions because everyone's forced to like, they're acting.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm not acting. I'm just gonna be telling people what I'm thinking.
I think I definitely think obviously the movies, a lot of it I think is supposed to be like allegory to like inner trauma or getting over things, kind of being comfortable with
stages of grief.
Yeah, obviously stages of grief. And I think with how it starts, obviously he starts off as an asshole. He starts just as male Karen to the max. Like he's a writer, very pompous, definitely thinks he's better than people, smarter than people. I think there's even a point where he says to that bellhop who says that he's a writer, he's like, well, what do you actually do? Like very condescending. And he's like, I like to write.
You're a bellhop.
Yeah. And it's like just very like every bit of dialogue that goes on with some of these scenes, it's like very cringy and hard to like listen to with just how mean he is. But
I'm curious if you had a similar thing, because when I watched it, I thought like they're using every single opportunity to make this guy as like you just don't like him. He's so unlikable because he's mean to everyone for no reason. And then you get to the point where he tries to kill himself, and like it was the first time a movie like made me like rethink about how he had acted up until that point and kind of given him like a pass, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, the more that
it just felt weird to think about a character like that.
It's almost the launching off point. Like you start off where you're like, he seems kind of mean, but maybe this is just like the weird way they're writing the character. You're not entirely sure if
and
it's
then they
like
make sure that he's being an asshole.
And it's basically with that scene with the spoon where he burns the guy, like
that's it goes from like just like that's assault. You just assaulted him.
Yeah.
You just caused him bodily harm. What do you mean? It's crazy.
So, once the next scene comes up, which is one of the bar staff coming up to give him something he left at the bar, the recorder that he found.
The tape recorder, not like a
yeah. Right. Right.
You left your recorder at the bar.
Basically, she walks in, finds him, hanging there, tries to kill himself. And it just kind of has a weird way of like kind of being more like what somebody might feel towards that person, like in real life, like kind of how those emotions go in real life. Like a lot of people say like the most depressed people are the people that always seem the happiest. And not that he really seems like he's a happy person, but he seems so pompous and so like full of himself that it almost comes off with this vibe of like he must be happy or must be like
he seems comfortable with himself.
Yeah,
because he seems confident in himself.
And
what it seemed like.
Kind of bringing it back down to like he's also miserable, and probably the acting that way isn't helping it either. Doesn't make you necessarily feel like super bad for him, but it makes you kind of see why he's that way.
Yeah.
Especially with more more. I don't want to jump right to it if we want to, build our way to it, but the main kind of turning point of the movie of what you kind of realize the whole trauma stems from the whole, bad relationship with his dad that it kind of keeps like pointing towards and not really understanding why like everything is to this point.
I really liked how they told us that subtly and how he carefully spread his mom's ashes around the tree. And then when he did his dad's, he just does like just a full dump. So like without anyone even saying anything, like, okay, so he had a good relationship with his mom, but it seemed more tumultuous with his dad.
The writing in this movie is like, I don't really know what you'd even call it, but like in my mind, it's like more of like that side of like the masterful kind of writing, and that like it's very layered, and that it'll kind of show you something like that, and so you go like, why is that? And then 20, 30 minutes later into the movie, all of a sudden he reveals like, oh, this is what happened. My dad, he gets into it talking about him being a drunk and being abusive towards him because of the repercussions of that. And it kind of like, then it gives you these moments where you go, oh, like that's what that was for. And I think it probably makes it so that rewatching it would feel a lot more fulfilling, and knowing like some of the things beforehand, or just seeing some of the little things like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think what you're saying and what's really pretty interesting is like the supernatural stuff in this is framed around the like the fairy tale of Hansel and Gretel.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's kind of has the thing about like leaving breadcrumbs for yourself. And I feel like the movie leaves a lot of breadcrumbs that pay off in ways you don't expect. Like when you were learning about the bellhop's experience with the witch in the room, and he's like describing it, that's kind of a Chekhov's gun, not exactly. It's kind of foreshadowing is what I meant to say for when Adam Scott sees it later. But because of the reveal at the end that he might have been on a drug trip the whole time, the breadcrumb now serves two things. Of it makes you think, oh, this is legit because it's just like the guy described, but then it makes you think, oh, he's seeing it exactly like the guy described because he was on mushrooms. Like now you're thinking like that. So it's like these breadcrumbs come back and then they work in like almost two different ways sometimes. So I think it is a cool movie, and definitely would be cool to rewatch this one.
Yeah, I think that there was a lot of things that were cool because it almost makes it a lot more interconnected with how small scale it is. It takes place in a very small town type of atmosphere, like basically just this hotel in the middle of nowhere.
Very Shining-esque, like you had mentioned earlier too.
I mean, I even thought that just even in the shots, I mean, it opens up literally with him driving off these narrow highway roads with like these helicopter shots of his car. And, that's obviously the same opening as The Shining, but even just the subject matter of, staying at this really old motel that's been around or hotel that's been around for a long time.
Old Europe.
Yeah. And this old countryside. It's very cool. It's very spooky. I mean, even just the look of the hotel is very creepy.
And I like that it takes place right when they're about to close for the season.
Yeah.
Because when you start, you're like, oh, it's like a functioning hotel. So it feels like not very scary because there's so many people here. And then they said they're going to be doing like their Halloween party. Then he does his attempt, and then he comes back, and they are like spring cleaning, and you learn that everyone's going to be gone in the hotel.
Something I really like that I think still kind of backs I think that there was supernatural elements, even if it wasn't fully a witch that you saw and stuff, like even if it was aided. I just think there's enough signs that points to the movie like something supernatural was happening to some degree. But something that helps that is that I really like how everyone kind of is curious about it, like how much discourse there is there, that like the owner just completely is blocked off the entrance to the the basement. The only way down is through that little elevator shaft.
There's the excuse that it was sealed off during the remodel.
Yeah, the suite is completely locked off to anybody. I really like that narrative that like they didn't know what to do because they can't just abandon the hotel.
Like describing, oh, he's stuck in this room. It's like, why? But like the way they like layer the pieces on, so then by the time he's in the situation, you're like, oh, he can't. He's just here now.
Yeah,
and I thought that was cool for sure.
Yeah, I think the thing that showed me that like it was kind of, I mean, a lot of people talk about like mushroom trips and how they change you a little bit, and so like the one thing I felt that it was pointing at in that with his character, like even with him writing the book, it starts off with that scene with his characters walking through the desert. And it shows this guy, I don't know if it's a father and son, but basically that the father is going to sacrifice his son to basically bust this bottle open so he has something to drink because they're stuck in the desert.
It's the treasure map, and they're really close to finding the treasure, and so he needs to bash the bottle open on the kid's head to find the treasure. So he was like, I can be rich and get what I want, but I have to smash this kid's skull in.
Wow.
Such a moral dilemma.
Wow. With him writing something a lot more like it seemed like the guy was going to do it, and then jumping to the end where now he's changed his mind.
Right. He had a change of heart from his experiences.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I like that they write it in like that because it kind of makes it more open-ended. I like when movies are more open-ended because it makes it more of a matter of like having a discussion about it. It kind of just, I don't know, it's more interesting that way. I feel like sometimes, especially with a movie like this. It had a lot of interesting not like set pieces, but just there wasn't really, I mean, it's a shorter movie. It's not that it's even close to being like a long movie, but it didn't feel, movies just feel like they can drag a lot of the time. And I felt like from the get-go, like it was into it. Like there was no need to have a real big explanation. Like
it was really good. I'm usually a stickler for bad or clunky exposition, but this movie starts really quickly, and I think it delivers the exposition in a way that you kind of don't even notice it, like with the ashes being poured.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of like, it kind of sucks that Obsession deserves all of the credit that it's going to get, but it does kind of suck that this movie is going to be overshadowed by like that or the Backrooms a lot.
Obsession with the Backrooms.
Yeah, because I feel that this movie, honestly, for being like, again, nothing that we really like knew a ton about or like anything to be super hyped over. Just being
a trailer, I wasn't super interested in until I heard people saying it's actually pretty good.
Just being a fresh get-go into like this type of a movie, I think it's really interesting from the start to end. Like I was hooked immediately. The acting is all good. The setting is good. The writing, the horror is very tense and good.
Yeah, there's a few things like crawling up that shaft.
Yeah. And I think Obsession and Backrooms have that draw the same way, where both those movies as well, from beginning to end, I was hooked. But it's, I think, far more impressive because, I mean, I guess maybe not Obsession, but I mean, we kind of were hoping that the Backrooms was going to be like that level of being good. So like my point is just that with Hokum, there was no reason to ever believe that it was going to be of that standard. With it being of that standard, I think it deserved more praise and more like...
Yeah. Something, Connor, that happened to me when I was watching it, so after he gets saved from the fire at the end and he wakes up in the hospital and he's typing, I had a few seconds where I thought, has he been in the hospital since his attempt and he's written all this? He, instead of his crappy book that he got bad feedback on, he went back and he wrote about his story of going to the hotel and this fantastical murder revenge plot.
I think that could have been.
And I thought that's what they were doing for a second until it was just a circle back to that scene in the desert, and the real recontextualization was that he was on mushrooms in secret the whole time.
Right.
But I thought it was going a completely different way for a second.
I kind of think that some of the like symbology in the movie, that's what you want to call it, or symbolism in the movie, would be like, even with that end scene going back to it, when the kid throws the bottle, it lands right next to an old skull in the dirt.
They could have just used that. There was no real dilemma.
Yeah, and it.
So the movie didn't happen because there was no real dilemma.
It kind of shows that like he went to, like, something was so off. I think even with him seeing, and this is why I think also it points to the ghost or the witch, at least in what he was seeing was his mom, is that in that very first scene,
that's interesting.
It's bugging him in his own house. I mean, the thing's in his house at the very beginning when he is writing, and it cuts immediately to him now in Ireland. So like, this has been something that's been on his mind. Yeah, that something's not sitting right. I need to put this to rest. I need to go out. Even getting to the point where now he doesn't know if this is actually some crazy thing that he's been through, or if this was just his mind going through the grief process while also being on a hallucinogenic drug without his knowledge. So, I mean, I think because of how everyone was acting about the place and because of just like the creepy nature of it, where it was at, I think it's more fun to believe that it was more like, the way that I'm looking at it is the place almost like opens up to whatever the fear or trauma that you're dealing with. So like almost like the witch could be anything like that you're kind of going through. And in his case, it was his mom that he would have been, you know, the person at fault for her death. And the reason that his dad was horrible. And so like, you know, towards the end, it almost seems like he finally forgave his dad and forgave himself for the mistakes that were made or whatever. That makes sense.
You know what shot I liked a lot in this movie?
What's up?
So you had mentioned how he was watching the TV with the money show. Then there's the shot where the TV goes off and you see the reflection of the dead chick in the bunny suit standing in the doorway.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I hate that.
There was one that I didn't like where he was like underneath like a desk or something, or like in a vent hole. I think he's like,
there was that weird passageway between like the front and the middle rooms of his.
You remember he has like the knife and he's trying to like unscrew the screws, and then there's the shot from behind him where he's like reacting to it, and you just see someone crouching down to like look down there and like watch him, and he like doesn't notice at all.
Yeah. And then it goes away. Yeah, I do remember that. Oh.
There's some real creepy scenes. The one that I think creeped me out the most was the scene when he's just walking and the monster's walking like in stride.
Yeah, like exactly like the arms moving exactly with his sway. Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, Hokum, good movie. Good.
Recommend it, and it is one I don't think I would rewatch Obsession, but I would definitely rewatch Hokum. So whatever that's worth to no one.
Fuck you, pal.
Hey, buddy. Fuck you.
Something I wanted to talk about. We knew that this week's episode was going to be a little bit heavier into the games discussion. This is kind of getting to the point where this is going to be the last movie we're going to talk about for the rest of the episode. But one thing I wanted to touch on, because I thought it was going to be kind of a good topic to lead into the games. Hokum, to me, you know, we're in like a horror renaissance. I know a lot of people like to talk about that online, and there's a lot of discourse of that.
Every year is like a new like generational year for horror to me.
Yeah. It's cool when we get these things that come back. You know, horror was kind of, you know, it was definitely on the downturn. There's always been like outliers, I feel like, but it's like almost like overall, you know, like horror wasn't in the type of spot that it was before, especially like in the heyday, like, you know, 80s, 90s era. Like
Yeah.
where everything was just booming and making money. It's back in a spot where not only is it like, you know, you have bangers, but you have stuff like Obsession, you have stuff like Backrooms, where some of these things have, some of them are even getting bigger budgets now, to the point where like it actually makes sense, or it's actually like good. It's not like just I don't know, not like cheaply made anymore. And even the stuff that is cheaply made still done like really well. Like it's at a point
It's
now
not
where it's
even
almost like
it's not
masterfully.
it's like good allocation of a smaller budget. Like Alien
Yeah.
Romulus did better than the last two Ridley Scott ones with a smaller budget. I think it's a better movie than Covenant or
I think so.
Prometheus.
It for sure is. I think I liked the first Alien the most, and then that. But we're in a time right now where it's like going back to this older style of direction. Like, I think one thing most of the 2000s and like late 90s movies didn't really have like the follow through, but I almost feel like the concept of most of those movies that would come out, or just the idea of like most of them being standalone like narratives, like a lot of the directional ideas I feel like were like decent or good, like especially
Yeah.
like in video games time, like 2007 range, like where everyone talks about that just crazy time with media, like having so many different things come out that were so grand or so great. We're kind of in that time frame again, and horror is like kind of the first thing that's being picked up. And we see it now like shifting over into like games. I'm hoping it's going to shift over into stuff like James Gunn's DCU, where like, you know, we're going to get a different kind of MCU vibe, where I hope it builds up to this huge great thing, but in its own different defined way. I think games are following suit like horror right now, because we have all of these games that have come out. Just talked about this weekend, like Wolverine, that Godzilla game that's getting remastered. We're getting these older style games, like
We used to
we
get
grew up
so
with.
many games where you could play as Wolverine and just like beat dudes up. We haven't gotten that in so long.
Yeah,
And then how good this new one looks, it's like we're so back.
yeah. It reminds me. We were talking about like when this started, and you mentioned like the Destroy All Human games.
Yeah, really when THQ kind of exploded and then kind of came back together with it's a new company but the same name.
I
They
think,
had the Destroy All Humans and the SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom,
which
remakes,
is
yeah.
another contender, which is really another contender for like what we're talking about, this renaissance of like older 2000 style games coming back. But like I think even games like the Tony Hawk remakes,
There's
like
something
the
that just
Pro Skater remakes.
2000s nostalgia is like 10 years ago it was super 80s. And then I feel like we're kind of at like a 90s 2000s point now in pop
Yeah.
culture, where like games of that kiln are coming. Movies are kind of finding a way to be back. Like when digital came out, we got all these like tight movies based on an interesting premise, like Limitless, or that movie Cellular, like stuff like random thrillers that like starred people that were barely in anything else, but like a bunch of like random good, like Jumper. That's one, like we like stuff like that.
Limitless.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's like definitely like time period-esque things, and it's fun to be back in this slot of time again, where we feel like there's like a big like there's all these culmination of things that feel like they're like back in this wave, but it's just kind of fun to look around and be like, oh, this looks like I feel like MCU's like up in the air still. Like, I don't know, maybe it could come back around, maybe not. I don't really care. But like DC, like each like project that kind of like gets more and more releases or like trailers that come out, it's like really excited. Like
DC has a lot of energy.
yeah, it's like
right
even like Supergirl, like I'm not excited for it, but it's like I feel like I'm gonna go and see it and think like that's good. Like I'm like more of what I see, you know, like I don't think it's gonna do anything crazy, but like Clayface, Looks sweet.
We're getting a lot of. They're doing pretty good.
lanterns.
Yeah, they're moving at a pretty good clip between the show and the movies we know we're getting this year and what we know we're getting soon. We know they're filming Man of Tomorrow. We've seen some of those pictures recently of like the Lex suit and stuff.
Yeah. I think they're going to do a better job with TV shows being integrated. Like Lanterns does not look cheaper than Superman. I think the same thing with like Peacemaker season 2 didn't look cheaper than Superman. If anything, like I feel the consistency between like the writing, acting, and like cinematography is all pretty good. Like in comparison to like the Disney Plus shows, I guess. Like I felt like there was always a big drop off between
even more than that. Like when they had Agents of Shield, and they're like, it's the same canon. It's like this is like C tier compared to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas like Lantern to Superman seems like they are the same league. No pun intended. Superman and Green Lantern in the same league. You wouldn't get it.
So yeah.
You wouldn't get it. I was just doing the Joker meme, but I didn't have a cigarette. Sorry, man. Connor, I have not played much since we recorded a few days ago. As we've said, I did beat Ascension 7 instead of Spire 2. Got a couple close. Nice. Got a couple close calls already on 8. It's all about finding the right balance of the shivs and the poison. All right. And you want to be able to you need to be able to build your block in a way that can scale. You don't just need a lot of block. You need a way to amp your block up. Maybe even maintain your block across turns. That's a good thing to do. Those cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I've been playing.
I haven't been playing too much either. I want to say I've already decided. I know we've talked about it a little bit.
Let's hear it.
October is going to be very fun for us. It always was when we did the EntertainGents stuff in the past, for like all the horror games and stuff.
Well, we didn't too, because we played Up the whole time.
We played Up for about 3 years. We just played Up and never did this podcast.
I've been prepping a 30-hour video essay on Played Up for 3 years. That's crazy.
I don't really want to talk about RE9 at this point since I've already waited so long to. Anyways, I think I want to do content for it come Halloween time. One thing I want to talk about is, until then, just because I'm playing, the action in this game's great. Like, it's crazy, like, how good it feels in terms of, like, being, like, following for, but then also just doing its own thing. It starts off in just such a, like, similar fashion to, like, what we were talking about with the Hokum stuff. Like, this game emulates a 2000s like game in that it's just very straight to the point. Its narrative doesn't feel like filled up. It's not this open world that has all this like bullshit in it. It's just meat and potatoes. And it's like, I spent $50 on it. I don't feel like I wasted any kind of money on this. I feel like I'm getting like a very solid experience, like down to like everything, like the direction, the acting in the game, the play style, the horror elements. Like I was telling you, even like I think there's a lot of stuff that you would like directionally, how it directs some of the horror scenes, like some of the things that it uses, the lighting, the audio that it uses. It's just all masterfully done. And not to just say just horror games, but I think games generally are doing this. And I think this, like, Play to Stay, or the PlayStation event and the
State of Play.
Yeah. I was remember what it was. Play of State.
I was like, Play of Stay. I was like, what is he talking about?
Yeah. And the summer games event. Like, between those two things, there was a lot of stuff that was kind of announced that we talked about, and apparently being like that.
IGN had their own thing called IGN Live, which I didn't even know about until we sat down to record today. So that shows how not in the loop I am. That's where we were getting some of those headlines I was about.
So I don't know. We could just figure we could talk about just a few that we were excited for, kind of.
Yeah, we'll probably be touching on more next week because Xbox goes tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
I'm hoping to see more of a Halo campaign evolve, the campaign remake.
That would be sweet.
It's supposed to be out this month or next. They haven't officially announced, but I think that was leaked or something. So
Yeah.
that hasn't happened yet. But yeah, there's definitely been a cool game. We were pleasantly surprised at how Wolverine looks. No,
Yeah.
you mentioned that, but they showed gameplay. The story's kind of cool. I saw a lot of negativity for some reason. Logan is on Team X, and he, in this world, like at least at this point in the world, X-Men doesn't exist. Mutants are in hiding, and when they hear about a mutant, Logan is a part of a team that goes and like collects them and makes sure that they're all good. You know, that they're not a threat to themselves. They're not under threat or something else.
Yeah, I liked it because, as we know, with the leaks that came out, they're eventually building to an X-Men game, which obviously was a little disappointing in the terms of like just wanting to see Insomniac do something else besides just doing these Marvel games. But in my mind, if that's the plan, like I think it's cool to lean into like already seeing people like Jean Grey filling out the universe. I'm not against that. I think there's going to be cool segments where we get areas of like him being in Canada, maybe even like a backstory flash of him being in Japan or something.
Yeah.
I think that they can still do that. And I think with what we've seen so far, it looks just like what we all kind of crave. We don't want an open world, you know, make it more hub based, make it more like you just roam around a certain area. That's fine. And I think that game's going to deliver on this. I don't know how open world it's going to be, but it looks far more like an Uncharted game than it does like an Assassin's Creed game. And I think that's just what I wanted with this. I want it to be more simple. I want satisfying
almost
action.
more like Tomb Raider than Uncharted, like the new trilogy of Tomb Raider games.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Where it was like a wider areas and it was like a confined sandbox.
I think even the action in that game, I think the combat in those Tomb Raider games kind of slept on in comparison to Uncharted, just with how much more grittier and almost more like punchy it was. You know, like Uncharted was a lot more light, and like melee combat, for instance, was always like, you know, you're not really getting your ass kicked as often. Like whereas like the Tomb Raider, like the first Tomb Raider game, especially like the death scenes being so like crazy, like I don't even know how to describe it. Just like very violent and very like rough. Like
yeah, the new Tomb Raiders are like a thriller, but Uncharted is like an action movie.
Yeah,
like they're both stuck on an island, but Drake's movie is an action movie
for sure. Yeah,
Lara Croft's movie is not an action.
Yeah, it's more like horror thriller kind of.
Yeah, it's like she is being hunted. She like just like there's a famous. It was the first Clueless Gamer that Conan did when he did the new Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And all the like the gruesome ways they would show Lara Croft being killed when you died.
Yeah.
It's like, why did you do what was this insane? Yeah. like her head being crushed and like a log impaling through her. Like, what do you this is just ridiculous.
I remember we were pretty young when that game came out, but yeah. I remember it definitely being pretty violent for the time.
12.
Yeah, I remember it being pretty violent for the time, being a little bit more gruesome with that stuff. But yeah, Wolverine, I'm excited to see where, you know, they're going to take it. And I'm excited to play it. It's out soon.
It's out September 15th, only PS5. As of now, I don't even think this one's getting a PC port because so it's kind of stepped away from that.
Well, I'll still be there. One game I was excited about was the Stuntman game, which I'm sure that you saw. I didn't play it. I'm not gonna Stuntman. I'm not gonna act like I'm the biggest like fan of the series, but I do remember playing one of the ones for.
This also is a direct speaking to the 2000s. Phenomenon. There's like this is a 2000s ass series that's coming back.
Yeah, this is
another entry.
I mean, like this is very much in stride with like the Godzilla game that came back, or like I was saying, like Tony Hawk, or even the skate game.
November.
Yeah,
the Godzilla game.
This game looks sweet, and I think that it doubles down in the best way possible with it being actual license properties. Like, so, like they had the Knight Rider car, they had the Back to the Future DeLorean, they had, I believe, Vin Diesel's car in one of the Fast and Furious movies, and I think that was it. There might have been one or two more that I'm forgetting, but um I think that's like the perfect thing. I mean, that's cool to me, especially like to see like, how I'm curious to see like how one to one it will be with like an actual scene from one of the movies, because the way that it worked in the original games, it would be like it would explain the setup of the movie. So like I remember one of them was you were playing as a sheriff. It's a natural disaster movie where like meteorites are coming down and hitting the ground, and so you would have to follow this path. And as you're going, there would be like
It's like
multiple
Fall Guy.
paths that you could, yeah,
It's
exactly.
just the movie Fall Guy. That's
There'd
funny.
be paths where you could take like certain things. So like one of them was like you could jump over this bridge, but you had to like time it right. And then like another one was you could go underneath the bridge, but like there was some other sort of disaster. And so like I'm curious, like, will we have scenes like with the Back to the Future one, for instance? Like, will it be like when the terrorists come into the place and Marty's like dodging and weaving and having
There was
to
a
like,
couple of trailers. There was one shot. It was when the DeLorean's trying to catch up to the train
yeah.
in 3. Like, oh,
So I wonder if they
very-
will
very
do like
exciting.
scene specific, movie shots, because I think that would be that, like, even just getting one or two things just like that. You being a fan of Back to the Future, like, I think there's
I
a
have
lot of
thing
things
where
that could be really
if
cool.
the DeLorean has a Back to the Future flair and it's in a game, I'm gonna own the game. I'm gonna own the car. I own the game. I own the car in Fortnite. I own the car in Rocket League. I own the car in GTA. I own the car in Burnout Paradise. I'm serious about this.
Yeah, I am obviously a big fan of the 2000s games and just the 2000s style generally. I think that's always been
Another
something
game
that
that's gonna be out that again is exactly in line is the Galactic Racer game, the Star Wars game. That's like Star Wars Burnout. It's like the kind of one-off racing games we were getting in the 2000s.
That's cool. That'll be. Well, I mean,
That's
there's a
out in
lot of
September.
stuff. Even the
You saw
Star
the
Wars
trailer for that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just gonna be Star Wars Burnout.
That Star Wars XCOM game. I don't know if that's something you wanted to talk about. That's
Well,
also
it
another
was,
thing
but
that
actually, I was distracted a little bit during when you were going over Stuntman because I learned that Toy Story 3
we get a remake, right?
yeah, or a remaster in October and a collection of all the versions of the Toy Story 1 and 2 games, which the Toy Story 2 game on the PS1 is, I remember it being very fun. It was a 3D platformer. You play as like probably the other characters. I remember being Buzz in Andy's house.
Yeah.
And like you pretty much the levels are just like the full scale of the house. Like one level, like you're just in the garage, or one level you're stuck in Andy's room. But it was a lot of fun. So I'm going to be
cool.
getting both the collection, the retro collection, and Toy Story 3, I think. And then the Godzilla games getting the remaster. But yes, in August, the Star Wars Zero Company, Star Wars XCOM. It looks like one of those games I was saying where like you dream about this game. August 27th, 2.5 months. I'm very excited. I came to this genre pretty late. Within the last 5 years, I would say. I played XCOM 2. And then again with its expansion, then I went back and played the prequel game, the 2010 one that was on 360. And then last year I played Midnight Suns for a long time. That was a dense game.
Yeah.
So, and this is one of those games where like, what I say like a Rainbow Six game where you play as an ODST.
Yeah.
Like a Star Wars XCOM game is one of those dream games where like this works perfectly. You're like just hiring like these random clones or these bounty hunters or these Jedi. You're building your team. You're customizing their loadouts down to like the attachments on their guns, the articles of their clothing. There's a plot with like, it seems to be like pretty fleshed out. I'm really excited for this, and I hope it reviews well.
It looks cool. I played a little bit of the XCOM game. I think the newer one, I want to say. or maybe the first one. I can't. One of the
Pretty
whichever
sure
one you
played
told me to play.
I think two. Two is like the baseline.
Yeah.
One like starts the current plot, but two is really more of like a sandbox. At this point, it's more of like a set of tools to play XCOM things.
Yeah, I like it. I definitely see like I think it could get its hooks in me. I just haven't given it like a fair shot
Actually,
yet.
thinking about it, I'm pretty sure the Mario Rabbids game on the Switch was what gave me my first hit of the appeal of these games.
Yeah.
And also becoming a dad and having a game where like having turns built in, where like you can set it down or look away or whatever, and nothing happens in real time. Really,
it's nice to just
that
have
was
those
also
games
nice.
sometimes. Generally,
Yeah.
I feel like. Yeah, I'm more open to those types of games. Like I used to be much more craving like the action packed. Like I didn't like the turn based, but like now getting a little bit older, I'm a lot more apt to sit down and play a game like that. I think this could very well be like my launching point into these types of games. I definitely think I'm going to try it and see. Because I think, I like the Star Wars universe still enough that like when there is something that's Star Wars and it's good, I'm a lot more keen to kind of be like excited for it.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun to just not care about Star Wars generally, and then when something good comes out being like, and or kind of being that way for me. Like I've slept on this show for years.
You're not pining for Ahsoka 2 and you don't care that it was delayed.
I don't even think I watched the first season. The last thing that I watched and was real excited for was season 2 of Mandalorian. Like that, I haven't cared about a show, Star Wars property.
Listen, stopping Star Wars at Mandalorian season 2 was like bailing on MCU after Endgame. Perfect time to hop off the train.
Yeah,
man. Perfect timing.
That was genuinely the last thing that I watched. Because here's the thing, I didn't even think Mandalorian season 2 was perfect.
No,
like I remember at the time being like a little bit complaining about some things, but overall being like it was pretty good though. I liked it. But no, I definitely miss having good Star Wars things in my life. So when something comes out, it feels like nice to kind of have that, dip my toes back in it again.
I want to say something that Disney's been doing good with is after they kind of got everything spun up, they've done pretty good having these weird skeleton crews that are periodically updating old games on Steam.
Yeah.
They restored the original Battlefront multiplayer. We don't need to talk about their weird remaster collection, how weirdly bad that was. But even like that game, the 2006 RTS Empire at War, they like update that every so often still to like make things easier for modders. So like you could play now a pretty robust version of like Clone Wars Empire at War now.
It's kind
with
of
like a deeper set of tools and control you didn't have for the first 15 years.
It's kind of funny because I've thought for a while, like if game studios were smarter, they would just realize that what people crave is actually more simple, like simplify. And it's like, if you were doing it right, it's just like the horror movies where it's like these studios are realizing, oh, we can make good horror on such a cheap budget. Like this could be profitable. We just have to think smaller scale. Like not every movie is going to be MCU. Yeah. Not every game is going to be harmful
stuff for games is like Guerrilla Games being like, you can see the peach fuzz from the poles on Aloy's cheek. It's like, that sounds so bad, dude. It's just a third person game from like, you're too far. You're looking at her from behind. Yeah. You can't, this isn't even on the screen.
It frustrates me when games like want to be so big, but then there's like nothing that's satisfying about it or like good. Like the Simpsons hit and run map we've talked about for a long time, and like how like
that needs
satisfying.
That needs
it will get one with where we're going right now.
Top
like,
needed games that need a remaster.
The studios are getting that like they're easier to make these games. It really is. Like they don't need to make every game huge and open world. They just need to make something that's like simple but does the job. Like the map and hit and run, if they made a modern Simpsons game, they could rip that map and it would still be perfect for a modern Simpsons game 20 years later. And that tells you like that isn't anything to do with graphics. That's all game design. That's good game design. like we've escalated so high with technology now and graphics and all of these amazing things that it's like almost the fundamentals of game design, and like what David Jaffe always talks about with like how there's not really like balls in like game design anymore because it takes risk, and risk is expensive, and there's so much money in this now that they don't want risk. It becomes flat. Like it just becomes basic, and these games don't have any feeling anymore. It becomes like what Call of Duty is now, where it just feels very formulaic and corporate and standardized.
Yeah.
It loses its like bite. And I just think that we're going to see a lot of these cult classic games come back. We're going to see a lot of these things come back because I think that the Skeleton Crews you're talking about, these Star Wars games, are bringing the hype back for these kinds of games. So people are already getting excited seeing their old favorite games come back, that now it reinvigorates the growth into these things and it re-stimulates these games coming out.
Yeah.
I think I think as we get into our 30s, I think there's going to be a big nostalgic wave. I think we're going to have
That's kind of what I'm starting to feel here. Like people, like I'm 28, people that are in their 30s now probably were playing the same games I was growing up. They're like, Toy Story 3 slapped.
Yeah.
Like some guy is probably 48, like just like approved remaking that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's cool that like we can have enough hindsight to realize that there's value there, and it's been the time and effort to make it playable and excellent. Because Toy Story 3 has a Steam version, but it's like a port of the Wii version, and it's notoriously like really broken and bad.
We've talked about for a while how we've been upset there wasn't a way to play it like
it is backwards compatible on new Xbox if you have the disc, which I do, but this new version, being able to play it on new platforms and just it's just the campaign and the sandbox mode in that game was just pretty fun to me.
I think we'll definitely be checking it out.
It was the Disney Infinity team, and like the sandbox mode was like the proto Disney Infinity.
We'll be checking it out.
Keep it tuned here to EntertainGents.
We'll be checking it out.
We'll be tickling it out.
We'll be tickling it out.
We'll be laying them on the table once or twice here and there.
We'll probably stream it.
Might put some olive oil on it, some oregano.
There's a lot of good games coming out. I think that
not a ton to say on it, but we're excited for the Last Ronin game from Platinum Games.
Yes,
based on the Ninja Turtle story that
there's
we
a lot
are
of
fans of.
A lot of interesting stuff, even for stuff that like if you're not a fan of necessarily. I mean, like we looked at the Bloober Team Star Trek game, horror game,
Star Trek horror game, Shadow Frontier. The
Halloween
game randomly looks pretty good too.
Yeah, I mean, even like neither of us are Star Trek fans really generally at all, besides maybe the J.J. Abrams movies, the first two, the ones from like 2009, 2012.
Yeah, just because those are like the most accessible.
Yeah, but like, I mean, besides that, I never cared for any of the shows or anything like that, really. And so, I mean, I think when a game comes out or something like that, especially, it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's cool that it's going to be leaning into a different narrative, and just an exciting time for games right now. There's a lot. I think we'll probably be back next week, especially like you were saying with the Microsoft show being tomorrow. We'll probably talk a little bit more in depth.
I bet we'll see Halo, Minecraft Dungeons 2.
Maybe some type of
Xbox doesn't really make games, so they might show like a plastic bag that they farted into or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they'll have that.
We still are getting like delays.
All right,
Fable.
Here's our next 6.5 out of 10 game. World premiere.
Yeah.
Yeehaw. Control Resonance. Worth mentioning.
Yeah.
We love Control. Don't like the vibe they're going for in this one as much. I like that it's so different. This is going to be like a melee action game. But I like Control a lot. Also, we're going to be playing the Mighty Cuphead Adventure when that comes out. More of an 8-bit platformer take on it rather than the other thing first one was. I'm not thinking about what I'm saying anymore. I'm done doing it.
Yeah.
I was just making sure I wasn't missing anything I wanted to mention games-wise from this past week. That Marvel fighting game is about to be out. Marvel Tokon. We don't care about Rayman, so we're not going to talk about Rayman. Sorry to hear that it still is around, though. Bancho the Chef, the Dave the Diver prequel about Bancho the Chef. I will probably be there. I'm a sucker for a cooking game every now and then, play it up type of deal. Not like a cooking simulator, but Nina the Hollower is out. Okay, that's getting tens. It's the new game from Yacht Club, who did Shovel Knight.
Don't care.
007 First Light came out. So it's actually pretty good.
I actually do want to try
I've heard
that.
only really, really good things about it. That's like they nailed it being more like Uncharted than I would have thought they would. It seems like. The Lego Batman game is out. Really want to get in on that. I've heard that it was not deceiving, that it just has the Arkham combat.
That's sweet.
And that it's good.
That's really sweet.
And the Tomb Raider game, it has a new subtitle, but it's a remake of the original game.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I liked the first game, but even the anniversary edition of it, a little bit dated.
There's a ton of stuff that you keep track of. So hard with how many movies and games there are.
Yeah. That's why I've given up kind of really wholly the concept of a backlog, like the random games I come on here and tell you I played. I
think people
if I get to something, I get to something.
I think it's more fun to be that way, though. I mean,
yeah,
I get like wanting to keep up to some degree, but yeah, I'm over trying.
It's like here comes Brendan. He plays every new game. So when Assassin's Creed is out, he's going to have thoughts on Assassin's Creed. It's like, you don't know that. I'm playing a half-hour game about being stuck in a mall with dinosaurs. You don't know what I'm doing. I'm serious. It's a spoiler for you. Yeah,
I think that stuff is fun. I mean, we've talked about having like our podcast episodes in like a random game of Minecraft or like Left 4 Dead or something like that.
Yeah, like I definitely like the virtual podcast set.
Yeah, I definitely think we like playing different kinds of games. It's definitely what like EntertainGents is about. Is just what it definitely started was being about the content that we love, whether it be movies, games, or shows. Music, anything like that was the original kind of concept idea. And I think as we go, it's going to shape and kind of change form. But I definitely think that our style of like talking about specifically the games and movies that we are enjoying or that we're interested in, rather than it being just the zeitgeist of the moment, I think is going to go a long way. And I think it also has longevity.
Right.
A lot more than just talking about something that's out for the moment. That really only works for that moment, and then it just becomes old news.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I think there's like, I just like that more. I think there's more value out of it. I think it's more exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know. What the fuck do I know?
Yeah. So what you're saying is the EntertainGents isn't... It's
EntertainGents
it's
belong
us.
in a museum. We are the EntertainGents.
Keep it here.
Keep it here. Cash out.
Didn't that was the only redeeming part of Miami Vice? Didn't someone say cash out?
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell?
Throwback. Well,
that's my fucking son. Nice healthy waveforms for you.
Yeah.
All right, Connor, we're out of stuff to talk about tonight. Right?
I think so.
I'm out of stuff to talk about.
I'm out of stuff to talk about. Okay. We talked about some games. We talked about some movies.
Yeah.
I think it was a fun discussion of what's about to be out. I think next week we probably will discuss a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe watch a few new things.
I might have seen Toy Story 5 actually by the time we talk next.
I won't.
That's fine.
You can't make me.
That's fine. Taylor Swift released
I won't do it.
In the original track.
I won't do it.
The film.
Yeah, and I bet you got real hard when you heard that.
Why?
EntertainGents.